Good afternoon. My name is Utkarsh and I'll be presenting my research on cognitive, linguistic and meta-representational influences in irony comprehension in Hindi-English bilinguals. This research was conducted during my master's at Center of Behavioral and Cognitive Sciences, University of Allahabad. To begin, irony is a form of communication in which there is a contrast between literal meaning of the statement and the meaning the speaker intends. For example, if a student gets poor grade and says what a great job on the exam, they are using irony to convey sarcasm. Irony is particularly interested in bilinguals because research on bilinguals suggests irony reading is faster in their first language than their second language. This makes it an intriguing domain to study. Understanding irony involves both basic and advanced cognitive processes. Basic processes include executive functions such as working memory, which maintains computing interpretations, and inhibition, which suppresses literal meaning when necessary. Advanced processes include meta-representational abilities like theory of mind, which allows inference of the speaker's intent, and pragmatic skills, which help decode social cues. In bilinguals, these cognitive abilities interact with the linguistic factors such as language proficiency, use, and switching behavior. Some evidence even suggests that bilingual may have enhanced executive and meta-representational abilities, making irony comprehension an especially rich area for study in this domain. This study has two goals. First, to compare irony comprehension between L1 and L2 in Hindi-English bilinguals, and second, to investigate the executive function, linguistic factor, and meta-representational influence on irony processing in Hindi-English bilinguals. We recruited 60 bilinguals university students, later reduced to 54 after data cleaning. The participants aged between 18 to 25 with at least 65% proficiency in both language and no L3. The stimulus included 50 ironic literal pairs in Hindi and English with 10 fillers, which were reduced from 100 sentences through a validation process. The sentences were English literal, English ironic, Hindi literal, Hindi ironic. We used a mixed factorial design with language as a between subject factor and sentence type as a within subject factor, and participants were randomly assigned to one of the four groups, two language groups, and the group 1 and group 2 referring in the specific set of sentences. The reading task was in eye tracking, which included a self-paced stimulus reading and a comprehension question in 33% of the cases just to test attention. In addition to the reading tasks, there were a bunch of linguistic, cognitive, and meta-representational measures which were tested through test, task, and online measures along with the original reading eye tracking experiment. These all experiments were counterbalanced across participants. After data collection, data was cleaned and outliers were removed, and the dependent variable was the dwell time for the overall trial. And for the four ROIs, context, pre-critical, critical, and post-critical, we did two types of analysis: group level and individual level. Group level analysis was a 2x2 mixed factorial ANOVA, while individual level analysis was a correlation and Bayesian regression with 5 linguistic, 3 cognitive, and 2 meta-representational measures. For the group level, there was no difference between ironic and literal reading of the sentences, and the L1 was faster than L2, but that was not an irony specific cost result. At individual level, the result highlighted how cognitive and linguistic factors jointly shape irony comprehension. Collapsing across language, higher working memory supported deeper processing, while greater language proficiency and reliance on dominant language reduced processing effort, making comprehension more efficient. For L1 readers in Hindi, stronger working memory and theory of mind increased processing depth, whereas frequent switching and reliance on L1 reduced cognitive costs, facilitating smoother comprehension. For L2 readers in English, L2 proficiency and theory of mind primarily supported deeper processing, and patterns of language use influence post-critical integration. These findings show how both cognitive resources and language experiences shape irony comprehension, with their contribution differing between L1 and L2. In summary, irony reading times were comparable to the literal ones, but cognitive resources, particularly working memory and theory of mind, supported deeper engagement. Language proficiency helped reduce cognitive cost of irony comprehension. The result differs between L1 and L2. There were few limitations of the study, which were the smaller sample size, and the reliance of reading time as a proxy for comprehension chosen to capture naturalistic reading behavior. Thank you.